Over the past few days, we've gotten a lot of information about Amazon's Lord of the Rings series, and a lot of it hasn't sounded very positive. They're messing with the timelines, changing character traits, adding non-Tolkien characters to this series. And yesterday, they released an actual teaser trailer for this series, and of course, fans of Tolkien's work are fighting back against it, calling out the issues with it, and dislike bombing it on Twitter and YouTube. And of course, the shill media is doing their very best to start protecting this series from valid criticism. I have a bunch of things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month or supporting via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So, I wanted to start off with this article. It says, after attacking fans, Amazon Studios' first Lord of the Rings of Power trailer gets roasted on YouTube with a quote attributed to J.R.R. Tolkien. I had actually reacted to this trailer yesterday. It was released when I was live streaming, and I wasn't that impressed. I honestly thought that it just looked like a CGI-filled trailer. It didn't explain the story. It just said, like, before the king, before the ring. As someone who's seen a lot of fantasy series, as someone who loves Tolkien's work and knows what they could do with the series, it didn't look that interesting to me. It didn't capture my attention and make me really, really excited. It says Prime Video and Amazon Studios released their first trailer for The Lord of the Rings of Power, during the Super Bowl, and it was quickly roasted with a quote attributed to the Lord of the Rings creator J.R.R. Tolkien. It says Polish, English, Russian, and the Lord of the Rings fans across the world repeated the phrase, "Evil cannot create anything new, it can only distort and destroy what was invented or created by the forces of good," attributing it to the Lord of the Rings creator. So if we go on over to the YouTube release of this trailer, it's got almost 3 million views, which is pretty good. It's been up for less than 24 hours at this point, but it is already being ratioed. It's got 14,000 likes to over 20,000 dislikes. People are not impressed with this trailer. It's really only like 50 seconds long because the last couple of seconds, the last like 20 to 25 seconds, it's literally just a big Prime Video ad. But we got 50 seconds of basically nothing. They smashed a bunch of random scenes together so that they weren't giving away the story, but they also could say, oh, look, we released a big old teaser at the Super Bowl to get people interested and potentially get people excited. It wasn't very impressive. A lot of characters we don't know. We quickly saw Galadriel, we saw Elrond, we saw a couple of characters that we know. But besides that, it was a whole lot of nothing, unfortunately. In my opinion, my first impressions of this series, between the descriptions for the story and also these short teasers, is this is just Game of Thrones light. Now, I liked Game of Thrones up until the last 2 seasons. I was a big fan of it, but I expect so much more from this series, and I don't think we're going to get it. They want to, in their eyes, appeal to a wide audience by watering down the content that exists. It's like they're trying to make it as generic as possible. And a big problem I have is that I don't want it to be generic fantasy. This could have been amazing, but it looks just okay. These people got to work with the basis for so much entertainment. People would die to work with Tolkien's creations, yet they're making this just as generic as possible. But, as I was showing, it's getting completely ratioed, and a lot of people are commenting Tolkien's famous quote, and a lot of people here are not happy. Over 8,000 comments of really unimpressed Tolkien fans. People are pointing out the dislikes. Someone said, sad, Amazon's woke rings of weakness. As you can see, the quote is being spammed all throughout these comment sections, and honestly, I agree. I'm gonna leave a comment too. I, at this point, feel like there's no way that they could have taken this in 2022 and made it something amazing. I feel like they've hired all the wrong people for this series. 20k dislikes so far, and it keeps going. This isn't Lord of the Rings. This is some woke garbage. People are not happy. This looks fine. I see very few comments from people saying this looks good or this looks fine. It's a lot more negativity than positivity. And another legend gets destroyed by the left. There was 10,000 plus comments at night. They deleted all English hate comments. How miserable. I haven't seen any screenshots of this, but I will definitely be keeping my eyes open. If anyone has any screenshots proving this, feel free to tweet them towards me. But I don't know if this is true or not. I didn't see over 10,000 comments. But there are very, very few English comments here, which is rather suspicious. Now, obviously, we all love the Lord of the Rings movie series, but I honestly didn't hate the Hobbit movies, and I feel like the situation with the Star Wars prequels is happening again. They faced a lot of backlash, but when the sequel trilogy came out, a lot of people forgave the prequels' mistakes and now really appreciate it. While the Hobbit trilogy faced backlash, I have a feeling this billion-dollar series is probably going to disappoint us much more than those movies did. And hey, we haven't seen it yet, so I can't fully judge it, but I can judge the comments showrunners and producers have made, the inaccurate details in the story descriptions we've gotten, and I'm really worried that this is going to be terrible. And of course, the media is already shilling for this series. I've seen some absolutely ridiculous articles be posted, but here's one of the many. Amazon's first look at Lord of the Rings series with sexy young cast. When I'm watching Lord of the Rings, I don't care if the cast is young and sexy as long as they fit the descriptions of characters, and none of them do. I'm just going to be honest. Galadriel doesn't look bad. This actress is very pretty, and she does look like she could fit the part, but they're putting her in full-blown armor, which Galadriel never really wore. Here's the next article that I saw. Amazon's Lord of the Rings TV show reacts to diversity backlash from Tolkien fans. People are not upset with the fact that there's diversity in this show. People are upset with the fact that there's diversity in a show that shouldn't really have much diversity. This is the problem. They're trying to spin it, oh, only raging ists hate this show. Only raging ists are angry. That's why there's a lot of backlash, because these people just hate diversity. We just want it to be as accurate to the source material as possible, and that's not what they're doing with this show. They're trying to make it for modern day audiences. They're trying to show the real world in some of these characters, but that's not what people want from Lord of the Rings. It's statements like this that make me not want to support this series. I am going to try to watch it when it comes out. I want to be able to review it. I want to be able to talk about it, and maybe it'll be amazing. But Lord of the Rings showrunner calls the series the novel Tolkien never wrote. I am not watching it to see a novel Tolkien never wrote. I am watching it to see the content that Tolkien had written. That's why the Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, all of his work is so popular. Why people have so much nostalgia for it, because people absolutely love the stories that he created. You're taking them and you're twisting them around and you're shoving your own narratives into them. This isn't going to impress people. Clearly, the first trailers haven't impressed people. People are very, very upset with this series, and I understand why. Only time will tell. When we have new information about it, I will definitely be discussing the Rings of Power again, but for now, that's all that I really had to discuss. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel, and of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.